So I'm going to do a brief overview of our conduct management system we use at Edmonds Community College. It's called Maxient. The first thing you'll see is our standard incident reporting form. And at the top, it just kind of gives an overview of what we do and what the bid is and student conduct and situations of concern, some definitions, and some phone numbers as well. We also have over here a link to our sexual misconduct Title IX report form, and that's important for a reason, and I'll share that in a minute. And then last, we have the academic integrity reporting form. So as somebody who is about to enter a report, you're going to put down your background information, who you are, your position title, how to contact you, the date and incident of the report, where it was located. If you click here, it shows all of the buildings on campus. You just select one. As you move down, you would include the involved parties. So typically you don't need to write yourself unless you actually witnessed it. A lot of times students will report stuff to staff and faculty, and then they enter that information in. If you are actually involved, then go ahead and enter your information. You can select your role. Respondent is the alleged person who is responsible for whatever occurred. The complainant is the complaining party. If you're a witness, you can select that. Or if this is more of a welfare concern, you might just put person of concern. And a lot of folks use that for students that they're concerned that are suicidal, so they're not a respondent or complainant or a witness. They're more of a person of concern. If you do know the SID number, that's the student identification number. It's really helpful to put that in because the way we have Maxient configured, it draws from our main system and populates all of the student information into our system. It's really helpful. So as you work through the questions, all these top questions right here correlate with our student code of conduct. These are all subsection charges, violations, whatever you want to call them. If none of that applies, you can click informational only, or if it's more of a situation of concern, like there's an emergency or a missing person, or you're concerned about a student's wellness or welfare, you can click one of those boxes. Of course, if there's a weapon involved, please indicate so. And then in this text box, this is where you kind of write your narrative: who, what, where, when, why, and how, if known. There's a couple more questions we ask. Who is the student connected with? As far as related services, like, do you know if they're affiliated with the disability office or international students? That always helps when we're trying to figure out who's best equipped to help in this situation. And then we asked if anybody has been transported to the hospital or jail or other locations. Always helpful information, and if campus security has been notified. You can attach supporting documentation, whether that's photos, statements. I think it even, yes, it accepts videos. That's really helpful. And then you click I'm not a robot and you submit this. So the way we have this form configured, it goes to all the members of our behavioral intervention team. And really quickly, the behavioral intervention team is a team that's conducted of administrators from across campus, mostly directors and deans that represent specific support services. Like we have the director of counseling, the director of disability services, the director of housing, and a couple other directors. We have the director of international student services, and we have an instructional dean, director of campus security, and then myself as the conduct officer and the chair for the behavioral intervention team. And so with this form, once somebody submits a report, it goes to everybody. Everybody gets an email notification with a PDF of the information that you entered into these boxes. That helps us right away because a lot of us carry smartphones. We can get notified of an incident immediately as soon as it's submitted. Now, we have another form we've created. This is the sexual misconduct report Title IX form. And this form gets sent only to 3 people. And so part of the Title IX best practices, what that's taught us is you want the least amount of people to be aware of an incident involving gender-based discrimination or sexual violence. It's just to help protect the survivor in the situation. And so our form goes to our Title IX coordinator. It goes to me as the conduct officer. And then we have a clarity compliance officer, which is another piece of federal regulation, but that's pretty much our director of campus security, and it goes to them as well. Now, this form gets routed to the Title IX coordinator, and it's up to the Title IX coordinator to figure out and work with the survivor who is best equipped on the campus to help. And in that case, as those people are identified, they may be brought in to help remedy the situation. And so basically it's the same as the standard incident reporting form. You're going to put all your background information in, involved parties, and then the questions are a little bit different. They're more specific to gender-based discrimination, and it has the different Title IX categories. Of course, you have your narrative box, and then there's a few other questions, whether you live in the residence hall. We have a few of them at our campus, and if campus security has been notified. Once again, you can upload supporting documentation. Then we have an academic integrity reporting form. This is pretty much for faculty, for instances of academic dishonesty, plagiarism. Those all get routed to me, and then I address them through our student conduct process. But all the questions, as you see, they're going to be very specific to academic dishonesty. They can upload papers that show plagiarism or cheating on the test or whatever it may be. And then the last form that we really use is the housing reporting form. And this allows the RAs to report incidents to the college. Now with this form, it also has, as you can see, all the housing policies violations like garbage or litter, smoke detectors, quiet hours violation. This isn't applied to student conduct, so it's on their own form. They also have the conduct violations, just like the standard reporting form, and then a few other questions. The other thing about this, and it's kind of similar with all 4 of our forms, is that each form has specific routing rules that route to a group of people that are responsible for addressing these situations. So with the housing reporting form, it's going to go to the assistant director of housing as well as the CREs that they're residence advisors that oversee all the student RAs within housing. So that's the purpose why we have their own specific form as opposed to using the standard incident reporting form that only goes to the BIT. Now, once those incident reports have been submitted, they're all sent here to the dashboard of whoever they're primarily routed to. And so all the standard incident reporting forms are primarily routed to me, as well as the academic integrity reporting forms. And then they show up as pending IRs. Now, I'm not going to click these boxes because there's student information in here, and because of FERPA, I'm not able to share that information. But you can see kind of an overview of the dashboard. Overdue cases, I've been off for a few days, and there's some cases I need to get to. And then unheard cases. Those are cases that are in the queue for me to meet with the students, most likely through the student conduct process. With this program, you can send letters, like conduct appointment letters that notify a student of a conduct meeting, conduct outcome letters that determine the responsibility of the student and their sanction. You can also use the find case to look up cases, find priors. If there's a student that you're concerned that they may have come across your desk in the past, you're able to search there. And then under the administrative piece, this is where you configure Maxient to fit the needs of your institution. Lastly, there's the analytics, and you can run all sorts of various reports. So, in a nutshell, that's pretty much the system. If you were to if your institution has this program, you might be able to get in and play around with it more, and you'll see it's much more comprehensive. There's lots of other little things you can do that are really helpful for administrators to get a more comprehensive picture of what's going on campus, what specific students, what kind of behavior they're engaging in, and the more comprehensive look you get at that, the better you're going to be able to intervene in order to prevent a student from harming themselves or others.